Hello, let's do today's Don't Wordle, where we attempt to not Wordle. So the idea here is we're playing a hard mode Wordle, and it's thinking of a specific word, and we're trying not to guess that word. If we accidentally guess the word, then we fail. Otherwise, we do have 5 undos that we can make use of if we make a guess that restricts it too much. And of course, the way this hard mode works is if there's a gray, we can't use it again. If there's a yellow, we must use it again, but in a different slot. And if it's a green, we must use it again in the same slot. As usual, I'm going to start with kayak and see how well that does. All right, all gray, perfect. So next I will do Zillow. Nice, good result, okay. So still no idea what the word is. How about something like Eerie? And basically we're hoping there's no E by guessing Eerie, but it does use the E 3 times, which is pretty great. So I'm going to see how that works out for us today. We always have an undo. All right, no E's. That's a good result. Ooh, but there is an R and an I. Let's see if we can work with that, though. Not knowing what the answer is does make it a little bit scary because we could accidentally just get the answer right. Speaking of, right would be an option, but I don't want to use 5 unique letters unless I have to. Ideally, I'd repeat a letter that isn't in the word, because if I repeat the R or the I, then that just narrows down it to green much more quickly. Although, if I'm worried about it becoming green, repeating it gives me the opportunity to repeat it when I won't be able to later. But let's see what I can come up with here. R being second seems most likely, so probably something RI I want to avoid doing right now. Can I do something like ending in RI? Ending in I is tough. Maybe I can do IR this way. Like smirk? Smirk is 5 letters. I'm curious what smirk gives me, though. Let's give it a try. Okay, good, it's not smirk. All right, the I is in place. We have 27 words remaining. We may be able to eke out this win without an undo. Can I end in R now? I can't use the E. I could do IOR. So we could do something like prior, because we haven't tested double R yet. And prior will repeat the R. The answer could easily be prior. Let's see what that does. Okay, phew. It's not prior. Only 1 valid word remaining. Okay, I have to use an undo. Okay, so what is the word then? The word is... Oh, it hides the keyboard from me, which is very unfortunate. Let's see. It's not obvious to me what this word is. ROI? Well, the R is first. We know the R is first. So if the R is first, putting the O after it would just make sense to me. Unless it's RUI, but then it would be RUI something O. So it's R... I can't type either. It's R something... Or it's ROI. There's not 2 R's. I don't know. Well, if we avoid ROI, we should be fine. So let's see here. Should I undo smirk? Let's see what I can come up with if I can avoid ROI. I just need 2 words that aren't ROI. So repeating the R is not a good idea then. Unless I can think of 2 words that start with R that don't have an O second. So can I do RUI to start with? Like ruin... I don't know how to end that. I could do R second once, and I could do R last once. So is there like... I could do prion instead of prior. That will require me to use the O, though, which I think is a little dangerous. But if I did prion last, what could I do before prion? So let's think about prion being my last guess, so I don't have to use the O. And then I can do... I can end in R for this guess. So I'd obviously have to put the I there. How would I do that, though? IUR? I just don't see a word that does that without using the O there. It's pretty much forced to be an O. If I start with R, then I'm forced to start the next word with R. It is tempting to undo smirk here, or even eerie. But let's see what we can do. So, all right, well, if I did prior, what could I do after prior? I'd have to start with, not prior, prion. Prion doesn't really help because I still have to start with R as far as I can tell. What about something like print? If I do print, and hopefully there's no N or T, then I would then be able to do IOR at the end. So let's look at print now as our second guess, or even as our next guess. Let's see, if we do print, we could, I don't know if doing print first or second is better. I guess, yeah, we do print first, and then we would do IOR, but I wouldn't have the P anymore, or the R second. So what would I put before IOR? There might not be anything. Choir. So I could do choir, CHIOR. Nope, choir is OIR. Darn it. Okay, let's look again. I have a U. Can I use a U somehow? If I'm doing print, then I can't use the PT or N. Nah, I don't know if that works. Maybe I should undo smirk. Yeah, I think without smirk, things will work out better, because I'm not forced to use the I in the middle then. I'm pretty convinced that there's not a good two sets of words that are possible here. So let's undo. I could just undo again and avoid the RI and the O, but what could I do here? So we don't want to start with R. We don't want to put the I in the middle. So I wonder if I can end in R here, if that's gonna be easier to do. So I could put like the I there where we know the R. Yeah, we know the I's in the middle, so we know that's fine. Then end in R. What if actually, oh no, I can't do choir because Eerie puts choir, the I in the same place. I need to do an UR, I think, which is unfortunate because that's another vowel used up. But I think it would be necessary, but I don't even know what this word would be. I could start with I and end in R, UR. How about incur? We know that there's an I, O, and R. We don't know about the N and the C, but I think incur works pretty well here. Let's give that a try and see what pops up. Ooh, there's an N in the word. Ooh, that's bad. We have 18 words left. So we know it's R-O-I, and there's an N. R-O-I, and then an N somewhere. What is that word? Or could it be... It's not rowing, is it? No. So... Could it be I-O-N here? But I don't know what goes after the R then. So R-O-I-N... I don't know this word. What is this word? R-O... I'm very sure that the R was forced... Yeah, there's no R second, third, fourth, or fifth. So R is first. I is obviously middle. Could it end in O then? Could I be doing something like R something I-N-O? Ah, the answer is rhino. Okay. Interesting. So the answer is rhino. I can do an O second, but let's I think incur is very bad then. Unless I can come up with two words. Let's take a second to think about how to avoid rhino here. So I could put an I here and an R here. Yeah, I don't see. I need to use an N. So it would be like N-I something R something. That's not nitro. See, the problem with nitro is now, I guess I could do nitro last. But nitro introduces the O at the end as green, which is very bad. I'm sure that would reduce us just to rhino. So, okay, if nitro is last, let's imagine that. Then what else can I do? I'd have to use the R second now, which is not that hard to use the R second. And then I'd have to use the N somewhere after the R, obviously. So maybe here. I have to use an I. If I was planning on doing nitro, I can't put the I third. I'd have to put the I last. Ooh. Putting the I last is going to be tough. I could use an O, but I don't think that helps. Unless something like drony is a word, or rony. No. Crony. Frony. No, I think incur was bad. I have to undo incur. Oof. Okay, what else can I do here? How would I end in I? If I did... Okay, well, the problem is I can't do sushi, right? Because I need to use the R. Also, that would introduce the H, and rhino has an H in it. All right, I think I'm going to undo Eerie. I think I'm just... Having that R and I is limiting me too much. I'm going to undo Eerie. And we're just going to avoid, as long as we can, all the letters in rhino. So what can we do here? Civic. Oh no, Civic definitely has the I in it. That's not good. Maybe we can do Civic a little bit later. Let's use the U and the E. So is there another word that uses a lot of E's that would not use the R or the I? Something like memes. We know that doubles up the M, doubles up the E. I lose the S, which is unfortunate, but I think that'll work pretty well. I know there's no M or E or S in Rhino, so that's pretty safe. So let's go with memes. Or do I want to check about the U first? Because U is harder to use. Now let's just go with memes. Down to 606. Okay. So, okay, what about something ending in UCK? Chuck would be great, except that would be a green H for Rhino. So we will not do Chuck. I could introduce the R and do truck, because R is pretty common enough that I could probably move it around twice. But if I can avoid doing that, that might be better. I don't know how I would double up the K, because I probably would have to do KN. I don't think Nuck is a word anyway. What about... Oh, no, I can't use the N. I was going to say doing UN something. All right, if I did truck, would I really have enough room to do... Or I would like to do civic, actually. So using the C now prevents me from being able to do civic. So if I could do civic fifth, I think that would work great. And then I just have to find some word that isn't Rhino. So let's keep civic free, which means I can't use anything from Rhino except maybe the I, although I'd like to avoid using the I. So using that Z would be amazing, but I don't know what word would use the Z here. So let's use I could use the D, the U, the K, the B. I can't use the N. I could use the W. I could use a P. The problem is getting a double consonant right now, because if I'm avoiding the H and the C, maybe I could do a double F. Is that okay? Yeah, F, there's no F in Rhino. So what about ending in double F? Ooh, fluff would have been amazing, but Zillow used the L. So I could do, okay, if I did gruff, then I can't do civic, because there is an R in Rhino. Come on, there must be something. What ends in UFF? Stuff. If I hadn't done memes, I could do stuff. I wonder if memed is accepted. That would have been much better. I think I will use my undo. I'm going to use my last undo, and I'm going to do memed. Oh, darn it. That's unfortunate. Okay, we'll come up with another word. I mean, I could do stuff now and get that out of the way, because there's no Rhino words in stuff. So let's do stuff now. Okay. And now what do we want to do? Civic now? I still think civic would be better fifth, but I think we might be able to get away with it. Let's try it. All right. So now we have to use the I, preferably not in the middle. So what if we did something like, why am I thinking of dryer here? Because, okay, well, let's think about it. If I did dryer, I would be green and R would be yellow. Do I have another word I can do? Probably not. What about, is drink worse? Drink is probably worse. Not introducing the R would be great at this point. And not locking the I into... Okay, well, we got to start with I then, because I don't think we're going to end in I. So the problem is I can't use the N. Well, I could use the N, but I'd have to be really careful. I do have prion, right? So if I ended with prion, then I could use... Darn, I can't do like ionic. Okay, prion would be all yellows. No, the I would be green in prion. So I could use another I here. I'd have to use the O somewhere else if I used the O. I'd have to use the P somewhere else if I wouldn't be able to use the P at all. What if I did an ing word, like doing? So if I do doing, then the O will be yellow, the I will be green, and then the N will be green for Rhino. But if I did that, then I could do P-R-I-O-N. No, I'd have to use the N there. It's P-R-I-N. Oh, I couldn't do drink. Is bowing a word or woeing? So let's say there was some other, if there was some other letter besides the W, or sorry, besides the D that I could put in front of O-I-N-G, then I could follow up with drink. Because the I-N will be green for rhino. The O, oh no, I'd have to use the O. So I do drink first. Oh, but then I'd have to use the R. That may not work. I think that's too dangerous. I'm out of undos as well. I can't make a mistake here. I need both words locked in ahead of time. So, okay, let's say I wanted drink to be my last guess. I haven't used the R at all. What if I end in ER? Something ending in ER? I could even double up the R third. I could do RER, if that's helpful, or EER. I could even do IER. Actually, I have to use the I, so IER makes sense. Oh, skier. Losing that S with it just in general is makes things really tough. I could use the N. Is something like in-ear a word? No. Icier is probably a word, but I can't undo civic. So there's no point in thinking about that. If I want to do drink, I can't do the R second. I could do the R first. So I could do something R, something I-E-R, but there's nothing that would go there. So this is my best bet, is ending in I-E-R or E-E-R, but I'd have to start with I. So that doesn't seem right. Is there a word like this? Inner. Would inner work? I think inner works. So if I do inner, we're going to have yellow for rhino. We're going to have yellow N and then gray N, because rhino has the N here. E will be gray, and then R will be yellow. And then I can do drink, because I only have to use the I, N, and R, and drink has those, D-R-I. And then I use the N and K, and D and K will still be free. I think we got it. Yes. Okay, we managed not to Wordle. The last word remaining was indeed rhino. We can actually click these blue ones here. So the only valid word remaining was rhino, which is not surprising. Here, these were the words we could have guessed here, besides inner. Or after inner, the valid words left were bring, brink, drink, grind, prink. Well, prink being a word, I didn't know that. Prion I thought of. Rhino obviously would be bad. Ring would be good. I know I thought about ing. I think there were a lot of options. I think inner was the key, though, after civic. So yeah, I feel like that was a pretty decent solve. I would love to at some point solve it with more than one word remaining, but we still survived, so I take that as a win. 0 undos remaining, so probably my worst performance yet. How would you do today? And of course, if you enjoyed this content, then why not leave a like and subscribe?